Hello, everybody. Hello, Trailblazers. I'm glad you've come. On behalf of the TRIA Germany user group, welcome to today's Salesforce ISV Landscape session, in which we explore solutions from third parties in the Salesforce ecosystem. My name is René. I'm the TRIA user group leader, and I'll be your co-host for today. I have the pleasure of co-hosting this session with Rodrigo Rosas Zamudio, who is leading the Veracruz, Mexico user group. Good morning and welcome to our participants from Mexico. Over to you, Rodrigo.
Thanks, René, for having us. Hello, everyone, for being here. As you heard, I'm Rodrigo from sunny, right now a bit hellish Veracruz, Mexico, and my user group is helping by hosting this session. Our esteemed guest and speaker today is Hakan Taymaz from Salesforce ISV Partner BreezyBit, who will present BreezyBit Form Builder. This session will have three parts: intro, demo, and Q&A. In principle, you can ask questions at any time. For that, please raise your hand, or rather save them from the Q&A. The host will jointly moderate the questions. That's René and me. So our volunteer Jonas has already duties today. So let's get started. Hakan, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Rodrigo, for having me, first of all. And let me start with this. Let me start with an introduction, as you said. So I'm Hakan. I live in California, in San Jose, in the Bay Area, specifically. I have been here for the past 15, 16 years, I believe, so far. And my background is in, and this might be helpful maybe because I have made a couple of pivots actually in my career. So, it might be helpful for people to hear that if they're making any changes in their careers, if they're thinking about getting into the Salesforce ecosystem. So in case, again, if this is helpful, I want to share my journey as well. So again, my background is in math and physics normally. So I've done different things before, but I taught in public schools in California for a while, many years ago right now. But I taught math, science, physics, a little bit computer programming, and in middle schools and in high schools. After that, I also worked as an assistant principal, again at a public school, and a college counselor as well in high school. Working with students, helping them creating their 4-year plans in high school, which colleges to apply, which courses to select, what to do, as volunteer activities or extracurricular activities. So I work with students and parents closely for those things. So it was really great. I love actually, helping kids, working with them, and education in general as well. So I really like, right now, I believe because of it, I still work with nonprofits closely. But after a while, I decided to make a change, and I think it was since I'm in the Bay Area, I have a lot of friends working at different companies and startups. There is a huge ecosystem here, especially for startups and technology and innovation. It is big everywhere. Everyone talks about those things. So, and after a while of again, teaching and all the other things in public schools, I decided to make a change, and I started working actually at a startup, a small startup. First of all, I got into sales, did some business analytics as well, but I really got into sales actually. I did B2C and B2C, B2B sales. I started with B2C. And then got into the B2B side of things as well. And it was a big change, after working in public schools, being a teacher, working with students in the classroom. It's totally different. The culture, the expectations, and how you work. The freedom comes with it a little bit, but at the same time, the pressure that especially when you're in sales, you're chasing targets, and then you need to be active all the time. In sales, speed to lead is really important. But I learned a lot actually while doing sales. I believe it was great that I got into sales first, when I started working in the corporate world. because you learn a lot about, we were doing consultative sales. So I learned a lot about the business side of things. I worked closely with marketing and then product and customer success, because it was a whole team effort, right? It's not just, again, chasing numbers or trying to reach out to people. But I did that again for a while, and I worked at a different startup after that, a little larger actually. I think when I first joined the startup, they had their Series B. So, and I worked in there again doing sales, mainly B2C, B2B sales. And while doing that, actually, I started using Salesforce, of course, especially on the B2B side. And I decided to make, I'm, a little bit technical. I especially like building things. I like working on products, having ideas and things like that. So I decided to make another pivot into the Salesforce ecosystem after that. And I got a few. Do you have a question, René, for me, or?
No, sorry, I was just waving to Johannes.
Got it. Sorry. Yeah. So, and then again, I decided to make that pivot into the Salesforce ecosystem. I got my first certificate. It was the administrator certification. I got that, and then I also, since I believe I had that background in. By the way, I want to mention this as well. I know people think that sometimes you're trying to get into the Salesforce ecosystem, but if you don't have any experience, with Salesforce, of course, it's not going to be easy. That's the reality. We need to accept that. But at the same time, you have a lot of transferable skills. So you need to really think about this, and you need to modify, work on your resume based on that, because it's not just about knowing how Salesforce work, how the profiles, permission sets, record types, page layouts, or the other things. Yeah, they are there, and you need to have those skills. You need to know how things work in Salesforce as well, as a tool, as a platform. But at the same time, most of the time it's about your soft skills, your people skills, if you your communication skills. So, and again, there are many transferable skills in all of the fields, in all fields actually, wherever you're coming from. So I can just know that, and be positive, and think about those. What you can, during the interviews, what kind of things you can talk about, and things like that. So that is just I wanted to mention that as well. So again, I made that change, and I actually did some consulting first with nonprofits for a while. I worked with a couple of nonprofits as a Salesforce consultant, as kind of a functional consultant, working, doing discoveries, getting the requirements, learning about the businesses, and then after that, helping them, either set up their Salesforce for the first time, or in many cases for nonprofits specifically, they don't have enough resources. They don't have a person dedicated to Salesforce in many cases as well. So I worked with nonprofits, helping them with their Salesforce platform, doing many different things, building flows, building different processes, automations, or helping with page layouts, design of things, with data loading, importing stuff, cleaning, many things. What's happening in Salesforce already. So I've done that for a while, and after that, I started working at a nonprofit full time as a Salesforce business analyst, and then actually moved more into the product side of things. Because as I mentioned, I really like building things, working with different departments, learning about their needs, and thinking about what we can build actually to help the business, how I can add value to the business by building new bits and pieces in Salesforce. It could be an automation, it could be a new application, it could be a couple of new objects, thinking about the data model and the architecture, again, depending on the needs of the business. So, and I started doing that, and again, got into the product world more and more in time. And after a while, what happened, actually, this is how I can maybe get into the BreezyBit world as well. This is how BreezyBit started. As an end user myself, working at a nonprofit, I used actually many different form and survey building tools, right? So, but I was not happy with what I had actually with what I had. Either there was a couple of reasons for that. One of the main reasons was for most of those products to be external platforms. So as a Salesforce user working at a company, if you are using a platform, an external platform, you need to go to that platform. You need to have a login. In many cases, people actually lose those logins because, you have an admin, they leave the company, and then the next person, they don't know what happened actually. You try to find that. You log into that external platform. You need to learn how to use that external platform because it's a totally new UI and UX experience. And after that, you need to get authentications, and then you need to build connectors. You need to do field mappings manually for each field you add onto the page, onto the form or survey. And also the user experience itself, it was not always the best in many cases. And there are some other applications that I used, other solutions that I use for format surveys. And in those cases, they were saying they were 100% native, but when you get in, it's working in Salesforce as an application, but when you get inside the application, it's a totally different world. The UI and UX, the experience, user experience is not Salesforce. The components they use, how they build it, again, the user experience part especially, it was not easy to use. It was not very user-friendly in many cases. So I said, I want to actually work on building a native Salesforce survey and form builder application myself. I started working on that myself actually, and then I think I was lucky. One of my friends, my co-founder right now, is we were friends in college. We stayed in the same dormitories many years ago when we were in college in Istanbul. So and he actually he's a great Salesforce architect and a developer. So I talked to him about my idea, and I had my first actually drawings and some wireframes and prototypes and things like that. I started building those things, thinking about the data model and architecture of the application and how it looks like. So he loved the idea as well, and then we started working on that together. And after a while, we realized things are going really well. And then we learned about if you want to be on AppExchange, you need to pass the security review. And it's a very, they have very strict about that. We learned about that process, and then we started doing our preparations while still building the application, the solution. And we submitted the application for security review. And we passed in about, I believe, actually 4 months. It was not a, very long process. I was expecting it to be much longer, hearing stories about different people, reading things on forums and things like that. So, but I think we were kind of lucky, and we did our preparation, and we passed the security review, and we have been on AppExchange for more than a year so far. So in our first month, we got our first customer, a nonprofit, started using BreezyBit. They were using a different tool, but after seeing how BreezyBit works, they decided to make a change, and they started using us. After that, different companies and some consulting partners, implementation partners, they started using it as well. So we have a freemium version. We have a 14-day trial. You don't need a credit card or anything to start using BreezyBit. You can start doing it actually just in 2 minutes. You can have it in your Salesforce org and start building forms really quick, really easy. But kind of this has been this story before getting into the technical details and maybe different use cases. Wanted to share these about the journey, my journey personally in the Salesforce ecosystem, and also for BreezyBit very, very briefly as well. So yeah, I don't know if there are any questions about any of those before I start maybe doing the demo.
I don't see any questions, but Hakan, thank you so much for sharing this sort of life story, your biography leading up to BreezyBit. It's not every day that we can hear about the inner makings of a new ISV, right? So that is very much appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sure. Okay, let me do this then. Let me move a couple of things around here, and then I'm gonna start the demo itself, so you can see, BreezyBit, really how things look here and how things work. So, and then stopwatch. Yeah. Let me share my screen. Okay, can you all see my screen? Are we good?
Yeah, that works.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So you see a stopwatch here. I like actually starting with this. I mean, it's a bit risky for me normally, but I like doing that. One of the things when we started working on BreezyBit, I wanted to be really quick, really easy, starting from the setup, and after that, building the forms and surveys as well, right? So because of it, I kind of made this my mission actually since the beginning. Okay, the setup process, because I worked again with different solutions, different tools, made different integrations. It takes in many cases, hours, or even if sometimes it's, it looks quick, but after that you have different problems and issues. So I wanted to be so quick, so easy. And right now, I will do actually the setup process with you live here, starting from AppExchange, and the whole setup process for BreezyBit. For you to be able to start building your first form or survey, it takes just about 2 minutes and 15 seconds. So that's the whole integration process. You don't need anything else when you do this. So again, it's a little bit risky for me doing this live. I'm, feeling a bit thrilled each time I do this, but hopefully, we won't have any issues. I'm guessing I didn't so far. I've made many different demos, in different places. So, but I'll do the same thing. What I'm gonna do right now is, as you see, I'm in an org right now, and BreezyBit, it's not installed in this org. So I will do the installation process with you, starting from our AppExchange listing. So we are on AppExchange again. We have passed the security review. And Salesforce is 100%. I mean, BreezyBit is 100% native form and survey application. And to install BreezyBit, you just need to go to the AppExchange listing and then start the process from there. So I will do it actually. I will start the stopwatch, and then I will do the whole integration, the installation process with you. So let's do this. I'll click on this. And then on the AppExchange page, I will just click on Get It Now. That is the first thing. And then it'll ask me to install in production in my case. It might be a sandbox for you. Of course, you can just click on the Try It Now button. And here I will say I have read and agree, confirm and install. It'll take me to another login page, I believe. One more time, it'll ask me to log in to my Salesforce org with this. These are my credentials. That looks okay. I will just say login. It'll take me to another page and then ask me to select it for admins or for all users. In our case, we will say admins only, install it for admins only, and it's Vibranium 1.1.27 is our last package, last version, and actually we just released it last night. So we have some news, some new features as well. I will show them to you too. So why we call it Vibranium, by the way, I'm a Marvel fan. It's the basic. I don't know if there are any Marvel Universe fans, So yeah, Iron Man, Captain America, and all the other characters. I love it. I watched the whole series a couple of times. I'm watching it right now with my daughter as well. All the movies, So in the series. That's why it's called Vibranium. Anyways, but we're just waiting here. As you see, the time is ticking, and then just waiting for the installation process here. I'm hoping it to be ready very soon. I will see something here in the tab. I think I got an email. It's very close to 2 minutes. Okay, yeah. So installation is complete. Okay, I will go to my org. I will search for BreezyBit. I just need to do one more quick thing actually. So I click on new. And then here I need to do client portal one more time. And here I need to select prod and add connection. And I am done actually with the whole installation and again, the setup process. So it took a little bit longer than 2 minutes, 15 seconds. It's 2 minutes, 24 seconds. But right now, it's, I think, close enough. So, but right now, again, my application, BreezyBit in my org, it's ready to use. And let's do that actually. Let's go build our first form. So
Hakan, just one brief comment. Could you maybe enlarge it a bit? As you have a large screen.
Sorry.
And perhaps zoom in a little so that it is better visible.
Let's maybe do this. Let's maybe do this actually after this first part. I think it's going to be easier if I maybe just share my screen and not, I mean, the window.
Yeah, that might be better.
Yeah. Let's do that. Okay, is it good?
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for reminding that. So here, let's build our first form. So what do we do here actually? Let's call it account information form. Just an example. It will ask you to add the primary object that you want to use for, to build this form or survey. In our case, it's going to be accounts. I can say add object. And if I want to add actually more objects, there is really no limit as long as there is the right relationships between the objects, either standard or custom objects. So if I want, for example, I can add a related object. Let me just show you. Here, I will just select contact, for example, as a related object. And if I want to add one more, let's say, another related object, maybe case, right? I can add case as a related object as well. And all of those objects are going to be, available for me to use in my survey or form. It's really easy, really quick. But in this case, I'm going to show you many different use cases. I will just select the account object. And my form record is created already. So it gives me a unique URL. It gives me also a QR code for this form right away. And then I just need to go to the form builder. And as you see, the main thing, all the UI and UX, the experience, it's really Salesforce. We only use Salesforce's own, SLDS components. So you're still like, you're in a basically a record detail page here, as you see, like opportunities or accounts or others. There is really no difference. And here we are on a lightning page. On the left side, as you see, we have the account object. That's the one we added on this form. And it will ask me to just add, I can change the design really easily, how many columns I want to have on this form, for example. And I can add, fields on the form really easily, really quickly, just drag and drop. And all the fields that I have in the backend in the account object are available to me. It could be text, long text, or multi-pick list, address, date, phone number, any of those. And whatever validation rules I have on those, they're going to be available, applicable on the form itself as well. So, and after this, actually, I added some fields on my form. I just save the form and my form is ready to share it with my customers. I don't need to publish anything. I don't need to do any field mapping since it's really 100% natively working, in my Salesforce org. I don't need to do anything else. So if I go to form sharing, it gives me a couple of options. It gives you the URL of the form. or embed code for experience sites or external sites, or also it gives you the QR code as well. So you can copy any of those really quickly and then use them anywhere you want. But if you go to the form, my form is ready right now. So again, building a form, adding any objects that you need, it's really easy, really quick, and super fast. And again, as you see, we didn't do any connectors, use any connectors, or did field mappings, or had to worry about publishing anything. Everything is ready for you right away, really easily and quickly. And let me show you a couple of, basic or main stuff that you can do. If I click on any of those fields, it will open up the field properties for me on the right side. And one other thing, as I mentioned, we really wanted to focus on the user experience since the beginning. And we don't want people to be going to different tabs, going to different pages, trying to find things on different places. Everything is happening on this page for you. If you click on the fields, any of the fields, it will open up the field properties for you, and you can make any changes you want. For example, if you want to change the field label, it's account name, but I want it to be just name. For example, you can change it really easily. If you want to add a default value to that, you can do it easily. If you want to add a placeholder, for example, you can do it really quickly, easily. Or if you want to add a help text, it will add the help text for you here on the form as well. Or, at the field level, if you want to change the width of the field, for some reason, if you want to do it, you can do it. Or if I click on the header, it will open the form properties for me. Here, I can change the columns here easily and quickly as well, change the design very quickly. So, but at the field level, if the field itself is not required in the backend, I can make it required. If it's a required field for this specific form, I can make it required. Or if I want to make it read-only for some reason, maybe adding a default value here on this field, and then I want people to see it but not be able to change it, I can make it read-only really quickly too here. And also, I can enable is required field here. But also in this last version I mentioned, we just published, actually, we just pushed last night, we added also is required field. Right now, it gives you much more flexibility, actually. You can make a field required based on another field's value on the form. So if I click on here, for example, I can say, make this field required only when the account name, for example, field equals Hakan. If this is my condition for this field to be required, and save this when I go to the form itself. So as you see, this is not required right now, but if I enter the value Hakan, it's going to be required on the form. So especially if you have pick list fields with many different values, you can use those easily based on, okay, if the user selects no, make this field required. If they select yes, make it not required, for example. So you can use it like that. We just added this feature as well. And other than that, we also have the visibility filter. So for the account type, for example, I can say, I want this to be visible on the form only when, again, the account name equals Hakan. I want to set this condition for this field. And if I go to the form right now, it's not visible. But if I enter Hakan, this is going to be required, and this is going to be visible on the form. So setting up conditional visibility is really easy, really quick too. And you can make actually conditions as complex as you want. There is really no limit. And if you want something super advanced, if you want to make your conditions based on other objects fields, we give you the option to actually use advanced visibility filter as well by creating classes. And if you don't have a developer in your company, we help you actually create the class and make everything ready for you as well. But again, for larger organizations, maybe with different really complex, super complex needs, there is really no limit with this. You can do anything you want almost. But again, this is available for people as well to use. And then another actually, I think last week we had another release before the last one, this last night's one. We added also configuring dependency option. What this does is you can actually set dependency, especially on the pick list fields. You can make pick list values visible based on other pick list fields values. So, this makes things a little bit more complex. But if you need, for example, if you say, I want to make, for example, account type the controller field for this pick list, account source, and you can say, if the user selects prospect value in this field, make only these 3 fields visible. If they select this one, make only these fields visible. If they select this one, make maybe these 2 visible. You can set all of those things, and only those pick list values are going to be visible. So you can even go more granular for pick lists, and you can set the visibility at the pick list value level, not just at the field level. So I'm not going to get into more details about those, but these are really the basic and really easy, quick things you can do on the fields. Those are the features that I wanted to show you. And if you go to the form properties, as I showed already, you can change the column count, you can change the design, font family for the whole form. You can add, if you want, a logo on the form. If this is an application, a registration form, for example, you can set activation expiration dates on the form itself as well, make it available on this date at this time, and close it on this date on this time as well. You can do those things. Or we have the action properties just for the button itself. For example, you can align the button on the page. You want it to be at the center or on the left. What kind of message, success message, you want people to be seeing when they submit the form. You can set this here really easily, quickly. The text color, button color, those basic stuff. And also here we have enable save for later as well. If you enable this one, imagine this is a very long form and you want to give people the option to save the form for later. So they filled out a couple of fields here, for example, and then they save the form, and then if they come back tomorrow, go to the same link, the form itself is going to be, so if I just copy this, close this, and open this again, it's going to be saved for them, with the values they already entered, so they don't need to do the whole thing again. And or we also have enable PDF generation right now too. So if they just select this, and when there is a submission, we will create in the backend a clear, nice PDF document for them, and then it will be saved into the related record in Salesforce. So it's really nice, really quick too. And then form protection, I will show you a case for this. But in case there are sensitive information on your form, and especially with, we do dynamic pre-fill, we let you use that as well. And in that case, if there is any sensitive information on the form, we let you create, we let you actually make your forms password protected, and we let you do it dynamically based on users' email address, or based on maybe a password field that you create on user records, whatever you want. But you can make your forms password protected as well. And form sharing, I mentioned, we give you different options right away when you create the form. And you can use, of course, hidden fields. Maybe you don't want to show them some of the fields. Account type, you want it to be a hidden field, and you want to pre-populate it. You know that these are going to be all prospects, for example. You can just add it as a hidden field, and it's going to be, working in the backend for you. You don't need to really do anything specific about that. So, or parameter fields, you can add any field as a parameter here, and you can use it in your URL actually as a parameter. If that's, if you have a case like that, you can do it too. So these are the things about these settings on the right side, and a couple of other quick things before I move into use cases. So on the left side, as you see, also we have the form elements here. So we have different form elements. Again, we wanted to make things really easy, really quick for you. So on this form, for example, you want to add a file upload option. You can just add this file upload element on the form. It gives you the option to select the accepted file types. You can change this easily, quickly, and then you want this to be related to the account record that is created when there is a submission. You can make it required or not. You can save the form, and it's ready on your form already. You don't need to do anything else actually. So people can easily, upload files as well. And there is no limits on, really how many file upload elements. We have some forms. I know, for example, some companies, they have more than 20 file uploads. They collect different, files on the form. You can do that. And I think the individual size limit is like 6 megabytes right now. So it's much more than enough, actually. What do you need? PDFs, they're a couple of hundreds of kilobytes in many cases. So you won't have any issues, actually. But file upload is available. Or if you want to add a group box, so we have the group box element as well. If you want to group some of the fields in a group on the form itself, you can just add them here. You can, call the group box, for example, let's say, I don't know, just making it up, but personal information. You can group them really easily and quickly. And if you want to apply any visibility filters to all of those fields that is in the group box, you can do it for the whole group as well. You can make it visible, invisible based on other fields values. It makes things easier, quicker. And we also have, if you want to make this a multi-page form, it's really easy, really quick. You just need to add this pager element on the form, save the form, and our form is right now a multi-page form. It automatically gives you add the next field here, button here, so you can use it like that too, especially for long forms. And then you can add sections if you want. In the sections, you can actually make it like a document. You can add as much text as you want, and then you can add fields right next to the section as well. You can change the colors and the design based on your branding. I will show you some examples for that as well, but you can add sections really quickly, easily too. And signature too, of course. You can add signatures, and then it will say, okay, I wanted this to be related to the account record that is created. But it's really this simple. You add a signature element on the form, and it's going to be right here. It gives you two options. I can either type my name, or I can sign it on the page, on the form itself. And when I submit the form, it will be saved, stored on the record that is created as well. So it's really easy, again, really quick, all of those things. And again, as you see, the main thing I wanted to focus since the beginning is all of those things we have done. We didn't go to another page. We didn't need to click on a different tab. There was no refresh or anything. Everything is happening on this page. Really easily, really quickly. You can build anything you want. So, but this is like that. So let me go on to maybe different use cases. Are there any questions before I do that about any of these things?
Thank you, Hakan. It does not seem so at this stage. So this has been really insightful. Thanks for this great demo. Let me briefly reflect if I would like to ask something.
Sure.
Maybe one brief question relating to what you've already shown. So if there are existing validation rules, then you are saying that the validation messages or the validation will pop out in the form, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If somebody would like to configure a validation that is specific to the form, is that possible as well?
There are some things, for example, for the phone number, you can use a regex pattern. You can set it here. For example, we have a default one, but if you want to use, if you're using something else, if you want to use something else, you can do that here. Or is there anything other than that? Let me think. I think the phone number is the only one. Maybe for emails as well, we might have this option too. But other than that, whatever you want to build, since everything is working in Salesforce already, we didn't add any other validation options on the form itself. For conditions, it's definitely needed in many cases, based on the feedback we have got so far from our users. So because of it, we added the visibility filters and dependencies and required field. Also, we added the conditional visibility option for that too. But for validations, in many cases, so far at least, what we have seen is people are using whatever they've set in the backend. So we don't have it other than email and phone numbers. We don't have it anything else specifically on the form.
Yeah, thanks so much for answering that.
Sure.
Yeah, I think we can proceed, right?
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Let me go here then. Let me show you a couple of different forms. And in an org, one thing, imagine, of course, this one, I just created this org. There was not many forms in it or anything. But if there is another org, imagine you create many different forms. You can create, since again, everything is happening natively in Salesforce, you can create really nice list views for yourself and for different kinds of forms. So when you create many different forms, you can see them like this, with the form URL and the QR code, created date, if there is activation expiration dates with the form name, you can see all of those details really quickly and easily on this page. And also you can create, again, different list views. You will have different kinds of forms. For application forms, you can have a list view, for example. If you have form templates that you want to create and use in different cases, you can do it easily too. Or, for registration, marketing, sales forms, surveys, whatever you have, you can create different list views easily and quickly and store all of those forms here in your Salesforce org. You don't need to go anywhere else. You don't need to go to different pages. Everything is happening here in the BreezyBit Form Builder application within your org. That is the first thing. And other than that, there are different use cases I want to show you. One of them is, for example, lead generation. You can use BreezyBit easily for lead generation. I use this myself a lot, actually, when I attend events. Last time, for example, I went to, I think the last one was Tahoe Dreamin'. When I go there, I create this form in my org. This is a very simple form that I created using the lead object, right? And I say, okay, just add first name, last name, email, and company from the lead object here on the form. And as a hidden field, I add the status. I want this to be open so I can filter this out easily later on. And also I add the lead source. This was, for example, TDX 2025. And when I meet with people, normally, you scan their badges and things like that, but it takes you different places, or you don't know where to store them. You can open the LinkedIn pages, take screenshots, try to connect, but you're not sure if you're going to forget what's happening. So instead of all of those things, since when I create this form, it gives me the QR code right away. I just put this QR code on my phone screen. And when I meet with people, I just ask them, if I have a nice conversation specifically, I just ask them, can you please scan the code and fill this out for me? It's just, about 10 seconds. And then it'll right away create a record for that person for me as a lead in my Salesforce org. So after the event, I can just go to my org and I know that, from the hidden fields, this lead came from TDX 2025. I can just filter them out and I can do my follow-ups easily, quickly. I won't have a chance. I don't want a chance to have actually miss any person, right, that I meet. So I can have them easily in my org stored right away for me. So this is because of that. This is a very simple use case normally, but I really like this a lot. Otherwise, people are taking, still I see, paper and a pen or a pencil, ask people to write their names and addresses. If you open a booth, for example, if you're opening a booth at an event, or they take their computers and they open a Google Sheet, they ask people to type that out as well. But again, these are not, I believe, that efficient. This makes things much easier and quicker. And they can open this again, they don't need a computer or anything. They can see this really nicely on their mobile phones already by scanning the QR code. So it makes things much, much easier. Or another form, this is a much longer one, but as you see with this company's some images, some media, and also since you can add HTML elements on our forms as well, you can add any type of images with their branding colors, many more text with hyperlinks, and then using sections, giving them different messages. And then this is a multi-page form. Of course, there are many things happening on the form, but it looks really nice, really clean. And again, either text or different types of fields, you can add all of those things. Another example, this is another company, again, with their branding, and this time also they added a logo on the form as well. So they have their logo, they have use sections for billing address and shipping address, and they're collecting some data for their account name, email, and website information too. And just one page, this is an annual thing also. There is the account update form version of this. I will show that to you too with dynamic pre-fill. But this is another example of how companies can use it. For non-profits specifically, this is an example of a voluntary application form. This is used a lot, of course, but you can, ask them questions about their personal information. If there's a required field, of course, it doesn't let you keep going. Let's just enter something here. And then if I go to the next page, you can use, again, checkboxes. You can use pick lists, or this is a multi-pick list, for example. You can use any kind of forms that you have, any kind of fields that you have in your Salesforce org, or checkboxes. You can add those. You can ask for file uploads, but voluntary applications, specifically application forms, it's a really nice use case, especially for nonprofits. Or you can use customer satisfaction surveys, NPS surveys, right? So we let you, normally this is a pick list. If you go back into this form, the NPS survey, normally in the backend, what I did for this is a pick list, right? And I know the values. But for pick lists specifically, we give you the option to change the design of it. We give you a display option. If you want to use the default one, it's going to be just a pick list. But if you want to use a different one, you can make it either a square shaped or a circle shaped one, and you can make the alignment and everything. And it's going to be, you can turn this into a real NPS survey like this one right away, really quickly and easily. And you can embed this on your website if you want, or you can share this with the customers, send them an email and ask them for their feedback. So, or another example with more, images and using sections as texts with, again, more sections. And here on multi-pages, you don't need to use images only on the first page. Of course, you can add some, make it more kind of interactive and showing, people creating that excitement kind of motivation, especially for, registration forms. This is for students. So you can add more images, more media on your form, and then you can create a form like this one as well. And this one, it's a bit, their logo, it changes the form itself, how it looks, but you can, make it on the left and also the button on the left as well. And there are a couple of conditional visibility on this form already, and conditional visibility also for the pick list values. Normally for this field, there are more than 10 values in this pick list field, but we make it conditionally visible. So we say if the user selects a current order, make these 3 values visible. If they select this one, for example, make these 4 visible. So you can get really granular at the value level for pick lists and make them conditionally visible. Or registration forms. This is a nice one too, actually. I like this one. So they use their logo here, as you see, and at the same time, this is an exam, actually. So a company, they asked, they were making an annual exam, a math exam to students. And then they were wondering if they can make, they can store all the data in Salesforce and they can automate the whole process, because they were using QR codes, the papers, and they were scanning those in a machine. But what's happening here is Let me just enter something here. We created basically the exam here, and you can use lookup fields, of course, and you can expose which accounts you want to show on this form, and you can apply on the form itself actually lookup filters as well as the lookup filters that we have in the backend. You can apply lookup filters on the form itself, and you can say, for this lookup, I just want people to be able to see these two accounts, or whatever condition you have, you can set those things. But here, if we go to the next page, we use some text here giving students information, and here on this page asking questions using the pick list fields. And on the next page, again, this is exactly a math question, with some nice images and a pick list field. They can select all of those, and when they do a submission, it will create a new student submission record in the Salesforce org. And after that, using formulas and flows, you can do the whole grading and create reports and do all of those things, since everything is happening in your org already. So this is another example with their branding, a really long form, I believe, this one. This one, I believe, the one I mentioned, there are more than 20 file uploads, many sections with conditional visibilities at the field level and value level. Oh yeah, here, so asking for many different information on the form itself. So this is a busy one. But again, you can create long forms, short forms, multi-page ones with file uploads, with signatures and other things. With your branding and colors, it gives you a really nice, clean view for the forms and surveys. So creating a case and coming to the end. So creating a case, I like this too, actually. This is a very simple one, like the lead one. But for cases, you can create a form like this, and you can ask a couple of questions. This is more for internal use, actually. So case reason, priority, contact name, and the file upload. You can use this internally, but also, you can let people come to this form and fill this out. But at the same time, what I like is you can embed this on your record pages directly. So if your internal service people working on different contacts, for example, and if they need to create a case, this is Tom Cruise, and then they need to create a case. Okay, there is a new problem. The priority is medium. Contact is Tom Cruise, and then I need to also, add this here to a file upload. And when I do a submission, as you see, there is no cases here, but I refresh the page right now. A new case for this person will be created with all the information I submitted. If I go to the case itself, I will see that there is one attachment here to the file I attached. I will be able to see all the details here right away. So I can embed it anywhere, under a tab or here as a different component. So I can do this easily, quickly for cases too. Again, within Salesforce, you can create cases, of course, but, adding this on the page itself without the need of going to a different tab anywhere, and also adding the file upload option here right away, it makes things really easy, really quick. So, and then the last thing I believe I want to show you here is the dynamic prefill. So what you can do is, whenever you create, in this case, for example, for accounts, whenever you create a new account record, we create a prefill URL for you on your record right away. And here, for security purposes, actually, we are not using the ID of this record. We don't want to expose it right away. So we are actually masking or kind of using encrypted IDs in the backend for those. But we are creating this URL. And what's happening is, if you go to this URL, this is also a password protected form. Since this is a pre-filled form, we don't want anyone to be able to open this. And then how we set this up is, in the backend, if I go to this form update, oh, it's not that one. Let me just find it really quickly. Information form and so updates. Okay, this one. So here, what I did is, if you go to form protection, it asks you if you want to set this password protection at the record level. So for each record, we are creating this URL, and we want to set also a password for that form as well. and we say we want the password to be the account email. It's really easy to set this up too. And if I go to the form, not the form, where was it? Oh, right here. So for this one, for example, I said, okay, I want the email address of this account to be the password. If I enter the password and open this up, my users, they're going to be seeing the form pre-filled. So they don't need to, filling everything up again. This is an account update form. Imagine we send this annually, ask them if you have any changes in your email address, in your address, anything, and then they can just come here, billing city. Oh, it was Santa Clara, but it's San Jose right now. So and we want them to sign this form too, so we know when was the last time they made the change, and we will store this in the record too. So when they do the submission, and if I go back to my record here, as you see, there are no files here right now. And if I refresh the page, it shows me, okay, I got a signature from this person on this date. If I go to the details on this date, on this time, I got the signature. It's stored in the record, in the related record too. And then the address, it was Santa Clara, it's San Jose right now. So without my users to have the login to my Salesforce org, I can create password protected forms like this, and then let them make any changes in their accounts. So yeah, this is it. I think there is one last thing. I think I won't have time for that, but also you can create easily, if you have forms, if you want to create a form, maybe let me show that to you. Just 1 more minute, if that's okay, René. I know you're coming to the end. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think it's okay.
Okay, so here, for example, let's say I have one form, let's say the contact information form. And then I want to, for that actually, let me do this. Let me share the whole screen again. This was in one of our last releases too. So here what's happening, I want to create this form in different languages, right? I want to translate this. What I can do here is, I didn't show you these as well, but you can export or clone the forms easily and quickly. So if you just click on clone form, it created a new form for me, the exact same form for me in my org, if I have templates, for example. Or if I want to, if I'm working in a sandbox and if I want to export this and import in my production without the need of change sets or any deployments, I can easily export this form. It'll give me a file, and I can come back and I can just need to go export, import, or here actually, I can go to new, and then instead of entering everything manually, I can just go here, go to the downloads, the last file I downloaded, and I imported the form in my org as well. So it'll tell me, okay, yeah, this form is imported. The name of the form is this one. Or one last thing is, if I want to create this form translate this into different languages, I can just go to the multilingual. I can say download language file. I will open the language file here. It'll give me a file like this. Let me bring it here. So origin language and language name, right? What I need to do is we give you a translation file here, a translation form, and then you just need to copy the fields that you have here, paste them in here, and then let's say you need this form in 5 different languages, which are going to be Spanish, Chinese, French, Turkish, German, maybe Russian too. So I just need to copy those, come back to my file, and paste them here with their titles. And I just say save as. And here I just need to select UTF-8, save it, and replace. And I'm done with the file portion. So if I go back to my org again and multilingual, upload files, and then language file is right here. So it created 6 new forms for me in different languages. So if I refresh my form right now, my application, as you see, the same form is created in Spanish, Chinese, French, Turkish, German, and Russian. So let's go check the Chinese one, for example. All the fields are going to be translated into Chinese. So you can do it easily, really quickly as well. So what we are working, last thing is maybe what we are working right now is adding an option for people to be able to select the language on the form itself. So imagine if you want to give people the option to select it, if they want to see it in German, Dutch, or in French, in Turkish, in any other language, they will have the option to be able to select it on the form itself as well. So that is coming very soon, hopefully. But I think these are all the things. Sorry, I know there are many details and there are probably many more things, but I believe I covered almost everything that I could in this time. So if you have any questions, please let me know.
Yeah, thank you, Hakan. Not only for initially elaborating a bit on your biography and how you got to making BreezyBit with your co-founder, but also showing us this really straightforward tool, which is really kind of amazing, and including a variety of use cases, and also speaking to the roadmap. So all the questions I had, to be honest, were answered in the flow of your explanation. Does anybody else have remaining questions?
I do have one.
Go.
Well, first of all, thanks. It has been amazing. I just thought of all the different forms of the use I can make of these forms. So the ways I can use it, and with my students also, I teach Salesforce with my students on
Nice.
engineering class. So I mean, of course, that's nice. I was wondering about the width of the form and when you use it. Is it expandable or adjustable in some sort of way, or is a standard form just like that?
It is standard. Of course, it's responsive. That is one thing. If you have small screens, it'll get smaller. It's responsive, but there is a limit. It gets larger too. The width is getting larger and bigger too.
It's
But
like,
there is a limit. There's a limit to that.
600 pixels, something like that.
I think
Or
it's around
800?
I think it's around 800. I'm not 100% sure. I can check that out and get back to you. But yeah, I think it's around 600 to 800. Not 100% sure.
Okay, because I was thinking on the embedded portion of I can embed this on a website, all the responsive and on all of that. How would that work with the form? But and also if I can somehow change the background on the form, and not within the form, but all the way on the background of that form. That is changeable.
That is one thing. It is not right now, but that is one item actually that we have in our backlog as well for the design of the form itself, especially adding, as I showed you, you can add images, you can make it as beautiful as you want already, but we want to still give people more options actually to play with the design. As you said, background is one of those things. It's standard, just white background right now, for example, but we want people to be able to change the color or maybe add images or do different things. That is one item that we have in our backlog. Yeah.
And also, sorry for being.
Please, this is great. This is great.
This on the images you get there. You are able to put the alternate text for those images. I mean, for the accessibility purposes.
That is a good question. I think we don't have it right now at the moment. Let me check that out. but that's great feedback too. Actually, let me see if there is in the content. Yeah, actually, yes, you can. The ones that we have already, we have the alt images because we are using HTML content element to add images.
Yeah.
You're able to add that. Yeah, it is already there.
Wonderful. I mean, for the usability and
Yes,
all the
exactly.
user experience.
Yes,
And
yes.
awesome, Hakan. Thanks.
Thank you so much. That's great feedback. Thanks a lot. Maybe one last thing I didn't mention, but also on the pricing side, we want to be, we have all those advanced features, and we keep adding based on the feedback that we are getting from users. We are very open to listening to people. Actually, that's so valuable. But also we want to be on the affordable, side for the pricing as well. So compared to the others and the big names out there, I can say it's much more affordable. And especially since I'm coming from a teaching background, working with nonprofits as well, for nonprofits specifically, we have a 40% discount all the time. And also for nonprofits, we have a no price change guarantee as well. So I know those are big things. I worked at nonprofits. The changes in price in time, it makes things harder and more difficult for them only. So we don't want them to have that, but we want them to have a strong solution, a tool as well. So because of it, especially for nonprofits, we have that offer all the time. Just wanted to mention that too.
Also, I want to pick another minutes on this, just for the multilingual thing. I'm gonna take this on the share. ¿Alguien tiene una pregunta que quisiera hacerle a Hakan y alguna duda que tuviera? Yo se las traduzco si fuera el caso. De los presentes. Nadie. ¿Todo bien? Parece. Digo por la porción de personas que hablan en español. If there's anyone who wants to ask anything in Spanish, I can translate it. So that was. I'm certain Hakan could understand Spanish because he lives in San Jose. So a bit, no.
Unfortunately, no.
2 or
Yeah.
3 shots of tequila and you can. I'm sure of it.
One day, maybe, but yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much, everybody. Thanks to our great speaker, Hakan, who gave a complete presentation. Thanks to our kind co-host, Rodrigo. And thanks to everybody who attended this interesting session. See you in the next one. And yeah, take good care. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.